In the winter season, around December 25th, the people celebrated the winter solstice. And so the winter solstice would come about somewhere from December 21st all the way to around January 6th or so. And so the people of the North would celebrate different holidays, have different occasions based upon the winter solstice. In the wintertime, there is a period where there is no light. You are literally in darkness 24 hours of the day. And this stretches for a period of time. Now, could you imagine if you're living in Alaska or living in Canada or living in Norway and you don't have central heating and the cold is outside, it's darkness around you. People are dying from disease. It's a terrible time, and every family would probably lose somebody, or they would know of somebody dying from the cold and disease during that season. This is the winter solstice. And so when the sun starts to come out, the people now are looking at the sun as a life-giving force. And so during that time, a number of ceremonies were held in northern countries. In the far north was the Feast of the 12 Nights, which stretched from December 25th to January 6th. Also in ancient Greece, there was the Bacchanalia, which was held for their god Bacchus, the god of wine and sport and play. The Romans had the Saturnalia for their god Saturn, their main sun god Saturn. And so you find during these times that the people held ceremonies in the north. They would burn bonfires. The light was important, the fire, because the fire represents the light, the life-giving force for those who worship nature. Also in the...
They celebrated Christmas before Christ was born. I thought they celebrated Christmas because Christ was born. They celebrated Easter before Christ was dead. I thought they celebrated because he rose from the dead. What you ain't know that was the devil's dead? Jeremiah 10, read it. Tell me what that say. Why you preach ain't teach it ain't? Why you teach ain't preach it ain't? Philosophical sermons is what they giving to you. Just like they satanic sermons is what I'm saying to you. I'll take you back to the book.
All folks on the earth, Father. We thank you for blessing us, Father. With this knowledge, Father. They will walk upright. We ask you, Father, let your word come forward, Father, without coming back void. In the name of Yashayah, so be it.
Hallelujah. Today's topic is the heathen celebrate Christmas before Messiah was born. We're going to get scripture on that today. The heathen celebrate their Christmas before Yeshua was born. Okay? First scripture we'll go to, let's go to Jeremiah 10:1. Jeremiah 10:1, Cap. We figure that this heathen day, they was celebrate worship before Yeshua's birth. So the world say, oh, we doing this Christmas because Yeshua was born. Okay, let's get some understanding this day, family.
That's right.
Jeremiah 10:1, Cap.
Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word which Yahweh speaking unto you, O house of Israel.
Who?
O you, house of Israel.
Now we gotta understand. I only talking to Israel. So all this heathen stuff the other day she's doing, let them do it. That's their day. That's something they celebrate. It's not for Israel. Keep going, Cap.
Thus says Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen. And
who?
Learn not the way of the heathen. And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. For the heathen are dismayed at them.
Now, the heathen is dismayed at the signs of heaven. Not us Israelites. We got a Father, we got the Son, we got the law, statutes, commandments, and judgment. Can you read in Cap 3?
For the customs of the people are vain. For
customs of the what?
The customs of the people are vain.
Can you read?
For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the hands of the workman with the axe.
No. The customs of the people are vain. One cutteth a tree out of the forest, the workman of the man's hand with an axe. So we know the so-called Christmas tree. The heathens go out and cut down a tree. Okay, can we want to scripture bring out what they do to this tree?
That's right. They deck it with silver and with gold. They deck it with silver and gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not.
Now, when you get that Christmas tree that the heathens trained us and designed us and tricked our mind to go and buy a tree from them, they sell us the tree. We take it, we stand up in our house as a custom, as a heathen. Our Father tells us, don't be dismayed at the signs of the heathen. Keep going, count.
They are upright as the palm tree.
Palm who?
Palm tree.
Read count.
But speak not, they must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. For as much as there is none like unto thee, O Yashayah, thou art great, and thy name is great in might.
And what name? The
Thy
name?
name is great in might.
Hallelujah. Keep reading count 7.
Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For today do it apparently. For as much as among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdoms, there is none like unto thee, but they are altogether burnt, brutish, and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanities.
When we look at all these pretty trees, this that look good to us, our Father say, but they are altogether brutish. They are foolish. The stock of the doctrine of vanity. So all this stuff is vanity. Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving.
That's right.
All the way they deck this stuff up around here, and we go around here loving a mess. Israel, come out and hear my people. Keep reading count.
But they are altogether brutish and foolish. The stock is a doctrine of vanity. Silver spread into plates is brought from tarnish.
Right up. Family, okay? Now at Christmas time, we have these plates with silver rings around them. Come on, family. Our Father bring out detail of the tree. The silver and gold is decorating the tree. I ain't talking the plates that we got decorated plates of silver around them. Come on, family. It's right here in scriptures. Keep reading count.
And gold from Ophaz, the work of the workman, and of the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the work of a cunning man. But Yashayah is the true Yashayah. He is the living Yashayah, and an everlasting king. At his wrath the earth shall tremble, and the nation shall not be able to abide in his indignation.
Oh, yeah. 9. Okay, 9 says, silver spreads into the plates that is bought from Tarshish, and gold from Upas, the works of the workman in the hands of the founder. And purple is their clothing, and all the works of a cunning man. Now these suits, the suits we used to put on, Cap, with the
That's
tie,
right.
the tie that you hang, people with this and that, whatever.
That's right.
Them tight suits and those pants and all that stuff, that's the cunning work of a heathen, family. That's not our dress code, family. Let's get these laws, that's the commandments. Keep reading, Cap.
11.
10, 11, 11.
Thus, okay, gotta go to it. Thus shall ye say unto them, the gods that have not made the heavens and the earth, even they shall perish from the earth, and from under these heavens.
No. Okay. I like how you put this in the book and show us spirit. This is spiritual, brother.
That's right.
6. For as much as there is none like unto thee, or higher, thou art great, and thy name is great in thy might, right? So he's still talking about his name. Now you go back up to 11. Then should they say unto them, the gods that have not made heaven and soul. When he said his name, Ahia made the heaven and earth.
That's right.
Not God, because God is the other nation gods, family. Keep reading cap 12.
He has made the earth by his power. He has established the world by his wisdom, and has stretched out the heavens by his discretion. When he uttereth his voice, there is multitude of waters in the heavens, and he causes the vapors to ascend from the ends of the earth. He maketh lightnings with rain, and bringeth forth the wind out of his treasures. Even man is brutish in his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image, for his molten image is falsehood, and there is no breath in them. They are vanity, and they work of errors. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them.
Portion of who?
The portion of Jacob is not like them.
Family, our fathers wanted Israel on it. He don't worry about these other nations. He wanted us not following their tradition of the ways of the heathens, family. Keep reading, Cap.
For he is the former of all things, and Israel is the rod of his inheritance.
Oh, yeah, keep reading, Cap.
Yashayah of hosts is his name.
He's what?
Yashayah of hosts is his name.
Oh, yeah, keep reading, Cap.
Gather up the wares out of the land, O inhabitant of the fortress, for thus said Yashayah, behold, I will see out the inhabitants of the land at this once, and will distress them, that they may find it so. Woe is for me, woe is me, for my hurt. My wound is grievous, but I said, truly, this is a grief, and I must bear it. My tabernacle is spoiled, and all my cords are broken. My children are gone forth of me, and they are not. There is none to stretch forth my tent anymore, and to set up my curtains for the past.
Now, our Father's telling us something that we're not doing anymore. Let's wonder why we're not doing this anymore, okay? 20 says, my tabernacle is spoiled, and all my cords are broken. My children are gone forth of me, and they are not. There is none stretch forth my tent. So we don't stretch forth our Father's tent no more because we out here worshiping the heathens holidays.
That's
not
right.
Our Father holidays, right? It says anymore. And to set up my curtains. We don't set up our curtains no more because we had to run around Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter. We had to come out to our Father's feast days. Okay, 21.
For the pastors are become brutish, and have not sought Yashayah. Therefore they shall not prosper, and all their flock shall be scattered.
Now the prophets preaching Lord Jesus, God, Christianity, and all that mess. Come on, family. Our Father's warning us right here in Jeremiah 10 and 1, all the way to 21. Keep reading cap 22.
Behold, the noise of the brute is come, and a great commotion of the north country, to make the cities of Judah desolate, and a den of dragons. O Yashayah, I know that the way of man is not in himself. It is not in man that walketh to direct his steps. O Yashayah, correct me, but with judgment, not in thy anger, lest thou bring me to nothing. Pour out thy fury upon the heathen that know thee not.
He's saying pour out thy fury upon the heathen that know thee not. Keep reading, cap.
And upon the families that call not on thy name.
Now again, he said pour out to the families that do not call on his name. Now again, he said the heathens will not call his name. They're going to call Lord God Jesus. He said the families that call not on his name. Now who called on a higher? Do the heathens call on a higher?
No, sir.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Sister Maria, I'm here every Saturday. You always ready to come and welcome.
All right, I'll be back.
Okay.
And the YouTube page on that too, sister.
Indeed.
Hallelujah. Read again, cap 25.
25. Pour out thy fury upon the heathen that know thee not, and upon the families that call not on thy name, for they have eaten up Jacob, and devoured him, and consumed him, and have made his habitation desolate.
Now I'm going to take this right here slow. 25. Jeremiah 10:25. Pour out thy fury upon the heathens that know thee not. The heathen will not know a higher. They don't know Lord God.
That's right.
Okay. And upon the families that call not on that name. Ain't no heathen in the world call on higher in your sight. They call on Lord God. This breaking down that a father have a name.
That's right.
So the heathen would not call on the Father's name, right?
That's right.
They're calling on Lord God. We cannot follow them, family. Okay, it says, they have eaten up Jacob and devoured him and consumed him and have made his habitation desolate. Okay, Cap, peace up to that. Let's go to Matthew 1:18. Because our job is to prove that the heathen were worshiping, celebrating Christmas before Yashayah born. Now we'll go to the birth of Yashayah. Okay, Matthew 1:18, Cap.
Matthew 18.
1 verse 18.
Matthew 1.
Read all the way to 25. 1:18.
Matthew
Now
1.
we're going to get the birth of Yashayah. And it won't say nothing about one according to his birth.
Matthew 1, verse 18. Now the birth of Yashayah HaMashiach was on the wise, when as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph. Before they came together, she was found with the child of the Holy Ghost. Then Joseph, her husband, being a just man and not willing to make her a public example, was minded to put her away privately. But while he thought on these things, behold, the angel of Yashayah appeared unto him in a dream, saying, Joseph, thou son of David, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Ghost. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yashayah.
Right now, the angel came to Mary and said, 21, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name. Now the angel would not say no word Jesus.
That's right.
He gave him his Hebrew name, Yashayah.
That's
So
right.
the name that the world gave this Jesus Christ, that's given of the world. We see right here that the angel gave her that name and called him. Can we count?
For he shall save his people from their sins.
Say what people?
Save his people from their sins.
The world.
Israel.
Other nations.
Israel.
Hallelujah. Can we count?
Now all this was done that it might be fulfilled, which was spoken of Yashayah by the prophet, saying, Behold, a virgin shall be with child, and shall bring forth a son, and they shall call his name Emmanuel, which being interpreted is Yashayah with us.
Now, because it say a highest with us, because you had a higher and you got Yashayah. So he came in the image of the likeness of his father. So it's a highest with us. You can't put God in that. Keep reading, Cap.
Then Joseph, being raised from sleep, did as the angel of the Yashayah had bidden him, and took unto him his wife, and knew her not till she brought forth her firstborn son, and he called his name Yashayah.
When you read your Bibles, it's got big old capital letters Jesus in them. We know the angel just gave the name to Mary to name her son, right?
That's right.
That name would not be Jesus Christ, okay?
That's right.
Okay, precept that count go to Matthew 2 and 1. Go right down to
Matthew 2, verse 1. Now when Yashayah was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, Where is he that is born King of the Jews?
King of the who?
King of the Jews.
King of the who?
King of the Jews. For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. When Herod the king had heard these things, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him. And when he had gathered all the chief priests and scribes of the people together, he commanded of them where a Mashiach should be born. And they said unto him, In Bethlehem of Judea. For thus it is written by the prophet, And thou Bethlehem in the land of Judah art not the least among the princes of Judah. For out of thee shall come a governor that shall rule my people Israel. Rule my people Israel.
Hallelujah. Keep reading, Cap.
Then Herod, when he had cleverly called the wise men, inquired of them diligently what time the star appeared. And he sent them to Bethlehem, and said, Go and search diligently, for the young child. And when ye have found him, bring me word again, that I may come and worship him also. When they had heard the king, they departed. And lo, the star, which they saw in the east, went before them, till it came and stood over where the young child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. And when they were come into the house, they saw the young child with Mary, his mother, and fell down and worshipped him. And when they had opened their treasures, they presented unto him gifts, gold, and frankincense, and myrrh. And being warned of Yashayah in a dream that they should not return to Herod, they departed into their own country another way.
Now, it's a prophecy that all these Israelites knew the birth of Yashayah coming. They knew that his coming was because it was prophesied in Torah, which is the Old Testament, right?
That's right.
Now, ain't gonna be no dates in the Bible talking about Yashayah was born on December 25th. Okay, it would even say in the winter, right? If we would not find that scripture, that's what right now we're going over proof the birth of Yashayah. Keep reading, Cap.
And when they were departed, behold, the angel of Yashayah appeared to Joseph in a dream, saying, Arise, and take the young child and his mother, and flee into Egypt, and be thou there until I bring thee word. For Herod will seek the young child to destroy him. When he arose, he took the young child and his mother by night, and departed into Egypt, and was there until the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken of Yashayah by the prophet, saying, Out of Egypt have I called my son.
Now again, Yashayah was here when he was a baby from Herod in Egypt. Now again, blonde-haired, blue-eyed Jesus, right? How can you hide a white baby over there in Egypt? Come on, man, a white, pure, I mean, you can't even envision this being blonde-haired, blue-eyed. Getting hid in Egypt. Come on, family. It's all right here in scriptures. It says, 14. And he arose and took the young child and his mother by night and departed to Egypt. And there was to the death of Herod, that it might be fulfilled. Now, he'll go to fulfill it again. Now, there was a prophecy being told about Yashayah coming.
That's right.
It was not a date and time, family. Piece of that, Isaiah 7:14. We're going to get the prophecy of this coming of Yashayah. Isaiah 7:14.
Isaiah 7, verse 14.
Hey, don't walk over there.
Isaiah 7, verse 14.
Come this way.
Isaiah 7:14. We're going to get this prophecy that was speaking about Yashayah coming and his birth. Okay? Our Father never gave a December 25th. Come on,
That's right. That's right. Isaiah 7, verse 14. Therefore, Yahweh himself shall give you a sign.
Give you what?
Give you a sign.
You read?
Behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, and shall call his name Emmanuel.
Hallelujah. Now that's prophecy, family. Okay, again, the heathens celebrate Christmas before Yashayah was born, okay? Piece of that, Luke 2:1 count. Luke 2:1.
Luke 2, verse 1. And it came to pass in those days that there went out a decree from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be taxed. And this taxing was first made when Cyrenius was governor of Syria. And all went to be taxed, every one into his own city. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, out of the city of Nazareth, into Judea, unto the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David.
What up? Now the lineage of David, so we know the seed, I probably prophesied going through the seed of Judah, all the way to Yashayah coming, okay?
That's right.
To read count 5.
To be taxed with Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child. And so it was that while they were there, the days were accomplished that she should be delivered. And she brought forth her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling clothes, and laid him in a manger, because there was no room for them in the inn.
All right, now he had swaddling clothes on. This is what our wintertime got. Come on, man. The world wants to believe that Yashayah was born on December 25th, okay? They gave a date and time. Bible give us signs according to Yashayah's birth, but we're going to prove today, according to Yashayah's birth, that it's not so. Keep reading, count.
And there were in the same country shepherds abiding in the field, keeping watch over their flock by night. And lo, the angel of Yahweh came upon them, and the glory of Yahweh shone round about them, and they were sore afraid. And the angel said unto them, Fear not, for behold, I bring you good tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people. For unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, which is Hamashiach, the Messiah. And this shall be a sign unto you. Ye shall find the babe wrapped in swaddling clothes, lying in a manger. And suddenly there was with the angel a multitude of the heavenly host, praising Yahweh, and saying, Glory to Yahweh in the highest, and on earth peace, goodwill toward men. And it came to pass, as the angels were gone away from them into heaven, the shepherds said one to another, Let us now go even unto Bethlehem, and see this thing which is come to pass, which Yahweh has made known unto us. And they came with haste, and found Mary and Joseph, and the babe lying in a manger. And when they had seen it, they made known abroad the saying which was told them concerning this child. And all they that heard it wondered at those things which were told them by the shepherds. But Mary kept all these things upon them in her heart. And the shepherds returned, glorifying and praising Yahweh for all things that they heard and seen, as it was told unto them. And when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcising of the child, his name was called Yashayah.
No. Again, it says 21. And when 8 days were accomplished for the circumcising, according to the commandments, all man-child must get circumcised on the 8th day. Yashayah was circumcised on the 8th day. And when 8 days was accomplished, they circumcised the child, and his name was called Yashayah, which was so named of the angel before he was conceived in the womb. Now, the name was given to Yashayah, to Mary, before he was in her womb by Yahweh, because the angel only going to do what Yahweh tell him to do,
That's right.
So the angel gave Yashayah's name. Now the letter J was not an alphabet. Now why we calling on Jesus, okay? Now let's break this down, Cap. Let's go to the precept John 10:22.
John 10,
St. John 10:22.
St. John 10, verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem, the feast of the dedication.
Feast of who?
Feast of the dedication. And it was winter.
It was what?
Winter.
It was what?
It was winter.
Now the Feast of Dedication, family, is the feast that's going to be in the winter. That's going to be our last feast of our last month, okay? And it was at Jerusalem, the Feast of Dedication, and it was winter. And so he walked in the temple of Solomon Court. So we know that the Bible is describing our true feast that it was in winter. Now where did he get this Christmas in winter? Okay, Cap, piece of that is John 18:18.
St. John 18:18. St. John 18:18. And the servants and the officers stood there, who had made a fire of coals, for it was cold. And they warmed themselves, and Peter stood with them and warmed himself. The high priest then asked Yashayah of his disciples and of his doctrine. Yashayah answered him, I spake openly to the world. I ever taught in the synagogue and in the temple, whether the Jews always resort, and in secret have I said nothing. Why askest thou me? Ask them which heard me, what I have said to them.
Oh yeah. Now again, the reason why I bring this scripture out, because it's on us right here in the scripture, but this is before Yashayah got crucified, right?
That's right.
This is right before the Passover, right? So this was when it also goes on 18 says, and the servant of an officer stood there. It was made a fire of coals, but it was cold, and they warmed themselves. So we showing you that. Don't write the Bible and say it was cold according to the birth of Yashayah. It didn't say
That's
that at all,
right.
right? So but we know according to the Passover, it's going to be cool according to that night. Can you read that?
He said, why askest thou me? Ask them which heard me, what I have said unto them. Behold, they know what I said. And when he had thus spoken, one of the officers which stood by struck Yashayah with the palm of his hand, saying, Answerest thou the highest priest so? Yashayah answered him, If I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if ye will, why smitest thou me?
Oh no. Now, again, 22. Now these was some I want to say hypocrites, right?
That's right.
They had the nerve to put their hands on Yashayah because he is the high priest, okay? Read 22 again, Cap.
And when he had thus spoken, one of the officers which stood by struck Yashayah.
Did what?
Struck Yashayah
Read.
with the palm of his hand, saying, Answerest thou the high priest so? Yashayah answered him, If I have spoken evil, bear witness of the evil. But if well, why smitest thou me?
Now we know if they're going to do it to Yashayah, they're going to do it to us also.
That's right.
Everything they did to Yashayah, crucified him, but also you gotta realize now, they hung Yashayah on a tree, on a cross. They also hung Israel after the fight. He said they did it to the green, they're going to do it to the dark. Keep reading, Cap.
Now Ananias had sent him bound unto Caiaphas, the high priest, and Simon Peter stood and warmed himself. They said therefore unto him, Art now thou also one of his disciples? He denied it and said, I am not.
Oh yeah, now I'm bringing this scripture up to show you that it's telling you when it was cold, when it was not cold. So we still have a pound so called the birth of Yashayah that it was winter. And we know the Feast of Dedication according to scripture that it was winter. According to the Feast of Dedication, a true Hebrew Israelite feast. Okay, Cap, piece of that, Mark 14:54.
Mark 14:54. Mark 14:54. And Peter followed him afar off, even into the palace of the high priest, and he sat with the servants and warmed himself at the fire.
Warm himself what?
At the fire. And the chief priests and all the council sought for witness against Yashayah to put him to death, and found none. For many bare false witness against him. But their witnesses agreed not together. And there arose certain and bare false witness against him, saying, We heard him say, I will destroy this temple that is made with hands, and within 3 days I will build another made without hands. But neither so did their witness agree together. And the high
So now we know, again, this was the night before the Passover, family. Concerning that Peter warned himself, right?
That's right.
Also, that these nations will not agree. That's why they got so many religions. All of them not agreeing. They were trying to agree with crucifying Yashayah. They can't even agree on that. Come on, man. This showing you that these nations are diverse. Their whole goal is to get us off track.
That's
to get
right.
us to go against the sin, against our Father, and not follow our law, statutes, commandments, and judgment. Okay, Cap, please up to that. Go to 1 Corinthians 12 and 1.
1 Corinthians 12 and 1.
1 Corinthians 12 and 1.
1 Corinthians 12, verse 1. Now, concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant.
Have you what?
I would not have you ignorant.
Now it's ignorant we don't know the law, statutes, commandments. It's ignorant that we don't know our feast days. It's ignorant that we follow the tradition is Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving, all this events that
That's
He
right.
has given us, okay? The Bible said again, the Bible said, come out and hurt my people. Keep reading Cap 2.
Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
Hallelujah. Now, ye know that ye were Gentiles. We were Gentiles. We walk around talking we were Gentiles.
Yeah.
We thought we were Gentiles, right? We thought we were Gentiles. And carried away of these dumb, Bible say these dumb idols, okay? And even as ye are led, now, they lead us into destruction, family.
That's
I'm a Gentile. I'm a Gentile. We said everything but that we Israelites, law, statutes, commandments, okay? It says, we from the top, Cap.
Now concerning spiritual gifts, brethren, I would not have you ignorant. Ye know that ye were Gentiles, carried away unto these dumb idols, even as ye were led.
You were led, that means we was followers, family. We were following other nations and they filthiness, the heathens. Again, Jeremiah 10 and 1. Do not be dismayed as the heathens. They cut down trees in the forest. This Merry Christmas mess, man. Come on.
That's right.
Come on and hurt my people. Okay, got a piece of that, Acts 14 and 11.
Acts 14, verse 11. And when the people saw what Paul had done, they lifted up their voices, saying in the speech of Lysania, the gods are come down to us in the likeness of men.
Oh, yes, the gods, okay, again, the word God is for other nations, family. The gods is not for our Israelites. It said the gods is for other nations. Keep reading, Cap.
And they called Barnabas Jupiter, and Paul Mercurius, because he was the chief speaker. Then the priest of Jupiter, which was before their city, brought oxen and garlands unto the gates, and would have done sacrifice with the people. Which when the apostles Barnabas and Paul heard of, they rent their clothes and ran among the people, crying out and saying, Cyrus, why do ye these things? We also are men of like passions with you, and preach unto you that ye should turn from these vanities unto the living Yashayah, which made heaven and earth, and the sea, and all the things that are therein, who in times past suffered all nations to walk in their own ways.
Now he suffered them to go and do all this filth they was doing. But he came back to water in his mouth going to condemn all these nations, family. He came back to bring Israel back to the Father and destroy all these nations, and they hit the evil, the
That's
evil
right.
that's ways. Okay, Cap, Ecclesiastes, Ecclesiastes 23 and 1.
Ecclesiasticus 23 and 1. Ecclesiasticus 23 and 1.
Oh, yeah.
O Yashayah, Father and Governor of all, my whole life, lead me not to their counsels, and let me not fall by them, who will set scourges over my thoughts, and the discipline of wisdom over my heart, that they spare me not for my ignorances.
Your what?
For my ignorances.
Your what?
For my ignorances.
So everything they gave us, Christmas, Easter, Halloween, all these pagan days is for our ignorance. They know better, but we don't want to know no better because we got laws, statutes, commandments, and we got our holy feast days that we're not keeping according to our Father laws. Keep reading, count.
That's right. And it passed not by my sins, lest my ignorances increase, and my sins abound to my destruction.
No. Lest my ignorance increase. Now, don't we listen to them without reading our Bible? Again, the Bible written to Israel, for Israel, by the Israelites.
That's right.
This is our truth. It's not their truth, family. So it says, let my ignorance increase. So our ignorance will increase if we don't study and come out these laws and commandments. Keep reading, count.
And my sins are bound to my destruction.
Your what?
My sins are bound to my destruction.
I ain't said again, my people perish for lack of knowledge. So we're going to get destroyed for not having the knowledge that Father gave us. Keep reading, Cap.
And I fall before my adversaries and
Fall
my
for who?
before my adversaries.
Enemy going to rejoice over your fall. They're going to laugh at how look at the Israelite, this, that, whatever. I thought he was one of the chosen people, okay? They're going to laugh at us when we follow them in their foolishness. Keep reading, Cap.
And my enemy rejoice over me, whose hope is far from thy mercy. Oh, Yashayah.
Now, the enemy, this hope is far from our mercy. They don't want a high to have mercy on us. They want us to perish.
That's right.
And following their doctrine, their ways.
That's right.
Wisdom of Solomon, 14 and 16.
Wisdom of Solomon.
Wisdom of Solomon, 14 and 16.
Wisdom of Solomon, 14, verse 6.
16.
Verse 16, sorry.
Get all on 25. Cap.
Wisdom of Solomon, 14.
14, 16.
Thus, in the process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law.
So we're done. Now again it says, in process of time, the unholy customs grown strong and was kept as a law. So now,
Y'all Muslims, excuse me.
we Israelites, brother.
Hebrew Israelites, brother.
Right, brother.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum. Shalom.
Y'all doing on the good tone.
Hallelujah, hallelujah. Was that in process of time, the unholy customs grew strong and was kept as a law. So now, all the customs we kept, all the customs we kept from the heathen grew strong on us, right?
That's
why
right.
it's hard to stop them from worshiping their God, celebrate their Christmas, worshiping their Thanksgiving, and bow down to Jesus Christ. We can keep reading, Cap.
And graven images was worshipped by the commandments of kings, whom men could not honor in precincts, because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage
Who?
took the counterfeit of his visage from far, and made an express image of a king whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, and as if he were present.
So right now, wait a minute now. This is deep. What they did, they turned the graven image into a man, which was a king, to worship that king, right?
That's right.
Okay, where you at, Cap? 20?
18.
18, keep reading.
Also, the singular diligence of the artificer did help to set forward the ignorant to more superstition.
The more superstition, our people are superstitious over everything. Don't jump over the broom. Don't let the broom sweep your feet. A black cat cross you, you feel these superstition more than you do the laws. That's family.
That's right.
On and on, right, Cap?
That's right.
All this superstition mess that was going on, this was taught us, family. This is not nothing we inherited from our father. This was taught us by the heathens. Keep
That's
Cap.
right. For he, pre-adventure, willing to please one in authority.
Please one and who?
Please one in authority.
Please one and who?
Please one in authority.
That's a house nigga, right?
That's right.
Keep going.
Forced all his skill to make the resemblance of the beast fashion. And so the multitude, allured by the grace of the work, took him now for a god, which a little before was but honored as a man.
Now again, that's where you get Jesus from, right? I'm gonna get a precept to that in a minute. But now they got an image of a man, worshiping a man as God, right? And that's where the name Jesus came from, right? Caesar been George, but I'm gonna prove that with scripture. Keep going, Captain.
And this was an occasion to deceive the world. For
See the who?
deceive the world.
See the who?
Deceive the world.
Hallelujah.
For men serving either calamity or tyranny did ascribe unto stones and stocks the incommunicable name.
Hallelujah. Keep reading, Captain.
Moreover, this was not enough for them, that they erred in the knowledge of Yashayah.
Knowledge of who?
In the knowledge of Yashayah. But whereas they lived in the great war of ignorance, those so great plagues called thy peace.
Hallelujah. Keep reading 23.
For whilst they slew their children in sacrifices, or used secret ceremonies, or made revealings of strange rites, they kept their lives, nor marriages any longer undefiled, but either one slew another treacherously, or grieved him by adultery, so that there reigned in all men without exception blood, manslaughter, theft, and dissimulations, corruption, unfaithfulness, tumulence, and perjury.
Now, again, family, they changed the graven images to an image of a man, you know, worshiping kings, right?
That's right.
Okay, also, every holiday the world gave us was the day of murder, was the slaughter. Valentine's Day was the day that they killed our people, okay? We worship that day.
That's right.
Picnic was the day of picnic.
That's
Come on
right.
now. Then Thanksgiving, they came over here and slaughtered all the enemies over here and stole this land.
That's right.
Every time we do a so-called holiday, the heathens will worship their God, will participate in their sin against our own brothers and sisters, family.
That's right.
Again, it says here that they changed the graven images to a man. Let's get that precept on that. Let's go to St. John 19:14.
St. John.
It's like breaking down that they call on his name and they changed the name to a man. St. John 19:14.
St. John 19, verse 14. St. John 19, verse 14. And it was the preparation of the Passover, and about the 6th hour, and he said to the Jews, behold your king.
Say, Jews what?
Behold your king.
Jews king, right?
Behold your king.
Can you read?
But they cried out, away with him, crucify him. Pilate said to them, shall I crucify your king? The chief priests answered, we have no king but Caesar.
But who?
But Caesar.
But who?
We have no king but Caesar.
That's where you get Caesar the Joe, which is a gay murderer, which is Jesus Christ.
That's right.
That's where the name came from. Caesar the Joe, they were king that Israelites, the Pharisees, Sadducees went against Yashayah. They wanted the king, Caesar. That's where they get the name from, the dukes.
That's
Caesar
right.
the Joe. That's where that image they worshiping called Jesus, okay? Cap, go to 2 Maccabees 4:9.
2 Maccabees.
4:9.
Can I ask y'all a question? What do you guys gather at? You know,
At the library right there, 27, the new library,
Yeah, I just
every
came from
Saturday
there.
at 10 o'clock.
I just came from there.
Yeah, come brother and join us, brother,
Yeah,
sometime, brother.
because I've been into this for a while,
Sure.
man. But I'm
That's
just trying
right.
to find somebody to get with. You know, it's hard. You know, I'm not keeping all the commandments. I don't have no friends.
I
So
understand.
I mean, I
Hey,
just
hey,
don't.
it's progression.
Yeah, and you know, like I said, I know the truth. And you know, and like it says in the Bible, if I know the truth, there ain't gonna be no more sacrifice sin for me.
There you go.
So I know I got to follow
know you gotta
commandments.
follow 'em.
That's right.
Right, but see, I want to get some other brothers, you know, because I haven't been able to find none.
Come on to us, bro.
Y'all up there every
That's
Saturday?
right, every
Yeah.
Saturday at 10.
Like I said, you
I
got
came up there today at 10 o'clock.
Who's there?
Well, I was upstairs for one thing.
You was upstairs too.
Yeah, man. Another
You're
thing-
welcome. You're welcome to come.
Another thing I want to ask you that, I don't want to get you off subject. Talking about the children of Israel, when they came out of Egypt, when they actually first went into Egypt in slavery, how many were there?
I've been water.
When they first went into Egypt into slavery? Because I know we were a multitude when we came out,
Yeah.
but I want to know how many was it when we went into Egypt though?
We went into Egypt.
Right,
Well,
as slaves, that is.
hold on, I got something on.
I've always wanted to ask that question. I know we can't be numbered because we like the sands on the sea.
Yeah, that's the big one now.
So you go to numbers on that. Numbers break down. Okay, go to Exodus 1:1, Cap.
Exodus 1:1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man and his household came with Jacob. Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher, and all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already, and Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation.
About the 70 souls. 70 souls.
70 souls. For Joseph was in Egypt already.
Okay, there you go. See, they were not big. They were not multitude yet. Until they went in Egypt. Once they went in Egypt and multiplied, they started increasing. But that was all 12 tribes. So they went in there with 70 souls. When they went into Egypt, they multiplied.
Right.
Verse 7 says, and the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly and multiplied and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them.
Hallelujah. So you have to go before Exodus. Let's go before Exodus. Go back Exodus 1:1. Can I ask that question for you?
Hallelujah. Second Maccabees.
But you can hold on a minute. Hold on. We're almost done.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm seeing it. I love hearing it, bro.
Did we do count? Did we do
We didn't do Second Maccabees. Second Maccabees 4.
Go ahead. Second Maccabees 4.
Second Maccabees, verse 4. It was also contained in the same writing that the prophet, being warned of Yashayah, commanded the tabernacle and the ark to go with him, as he went forth into the mountain where Moses climbed up and saw the heritage of Yashayah. And when Jeremiah came thither, he found a hollow cave wherein he laid the tabernacle and the ark and the altar of incense, and so stopped the door.
Okay, go to Second Maccabees 4 and 9. Okay. Second Maccabees 4 and 9.
Second Maccabees 4 and 9. It was also declared that he, being wise, offered the sacrifice of dedication and of the finishing of the temple.
Yeah, Second
Oh,
Maccabees.
my bad. I'm in Second Maccabees 4.
Second Maccabees 4 and 9.
My bad, Elder. Second Maccabees chapter 4, verse 9, fam. Beside this, he promised to assign 150 more, if he might have license to set him up. If he might have license to set him up.
Now, license was created that we go against our Father's laws, statutes, commandments, and be up under the other nations' laws to break the laws, statutes, commandments. Family, keep reading, count.
Of you, set him up a place for exercise and for the training up of youth in the fashions of the heathen.
Fashion of the who?
Fashions of the heathen.
Keep reading.
And to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antonians, which when the king had granted and he had got into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion.
Who fashion?
The Greekish fashion.
Now, all the heathens' ways we are taking upon, family, and leaving our Father's ways, the laws, statutes, commandments given to Israel. Keep reading, count.
And the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of the Epilims, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid. He took away and putting down the governments which were according to the law.
According to the who?
According to the law, he brought up new customs against the law.
New custom against the law. Keep reading, count.
For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself and brought the chief young men under his subjection and made them wear a hat.
They gave us certain hats, family. Now we got to read these scriptures, understand everything the heathens gave us to go against the laws, statutes, commandments, children. 13, count.
13. Now such was the height of Greek fashion and increase of healthiness, manners, through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch, and no high priest, that the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices, hastened to be partakers of the unlawful allowance in the place of exercise after the game of disgust called them forth.
Oh, yeah, keep reading, count. 15.
Not setting by the honors of their fathers, but liking the glory of the Grecians. Best of all,
Hallelujah, that's it, God.
All
Okay,
praise.
again, today, the heathens celebrate Christmas for Yashayah's birth. Okay?
That's
When
right.
you go to the Christian church, they're going to tell you that, oh, this is the birth of, they say Jesus, but his name is Yashayah. Yashayah was not even born yet, because our Father prophesied when Yashayah was going to be born and when he going to be born, but he never gave us a date and time, okay?
That's
Let's
right.
go back to Jeremiah chapter 10:1.
Jeremiah. Jeremiah 10.
We just going to we go back over Jeremiah a little bit. Because this topic about this Christmas coming up, and we doing the same thing. Our Father warned us about this Christmas, this holiday of the heathens. Keep going, Cap.
That's right. Jeremiah 10, verse 1. Hear ye the word which Yashayah speaketh to you, O house of Israel.
Who?
O house of Israel.
Keep reading.
Thus saith Yashayah, learn not the way of the heathen.
Learn not the way of who?
Learn not the way of the heathen.
So our Father telling us not to learn their ways. If he telling us not to learn their ways, we should not teach that, right?
That's right.
So if we walk around to old Christmas where Yashayah was born, it's that inside a so-called church house, and we're teaching this mess. He said, learn not the way. So if you can't learn it, you sure can't teach it.
That's right. Be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, For the heathen are dismayed at them. For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth a tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workmen with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten
Deck it with silver and who?
silver and gold.
Okay, let me show you something. A lot of times we talk to people, oh, I don't bow down to no tree. How we get them gifts?
How you get it?
How you get the gifts, Cap? You gotta go up on that tree. You gotta bow down. You gotta bow down up on that tree to get that
That's
gift,
right.
So you saying you ain't bow down to that tree? Out of ignorance, man, when we do this.
That's right.
That's why the heathen made them put gifts up under that tree. Well, I don't bow down to that. But you are. You thinking you say thank you. You saying thank you. How you say acknowledge me in all thy ways. In all thy ways acknowledge me, right? Now you fall on your knees. You thinking of Santa Claus.
That's right.
You're thinking if you talk about your parents, you're thinking your parents. That's sin, right, Cap?
That's right.
Oh yeah, Kiwi.
They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten it with nails and with hammers, that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. For as much as there is none like it to thee, O Yashayah, thou art great, and thy name is great in might.
Who?
Thy name is great in might.
You read, Cap?
Who would not fear thee, O King of nations? For to thee who is the perpetuity, for as much as among all the wise men of the nations, and in all their kingdoms there is none like unto thee, but they are altogether brutish and foolish.
Who?
Brutish and foolish.
So all of the nations are brutish and foolish. Come on, Cap, Kiwi.
The stock is a doctrine of vanities.
Doctrine of who?
Vanities.
So we follow these other nations as vanity, family. It's not going to get us to the kingdom. We're going
That's
to perish
right.
for lack of knowledge, family. Keep reading, Cap, now.
Silver spread into plates.
Silver spread and what?
Silver spread into plates.
Now again, Christmas Day, you got a Christmas tree, you got plates with silver. Our father's bringing this out. This is not nothing we put out of our pocket, family. This is in scripture. Read it again, Cap.
Silver spread into plates, brought from Tarshish, and gold from Eliphaz, the work of the workman and the hands of the founder. Blue and purple is their clothing. They are all the workmen of cunning men.
So they outer appearance, you think they look good with all that basketball clothes on. That's what we coming back to the Los Angeles family. We'll put on our wages.
That's
our
right.
Our father gave Israel a dress code. We got to come out of here now dressed like them. Again, those tight suits, again, with the tie, you know the tie represents on a suit?
That's right.
The tie represents hanging a brother.
Loose.
It's that we wear that, we put the tie on tight down, they think we look good.
That's right.
Put on those suits and stuff. That's the heathens appearance, family. We got to come out and hurt my people. Again, top of the day, the heathens celebrate Christmas before Yashayah was born. That's a lie.
All right, guys.
Only y'all.
I'll be
All
up
right,
there.
brother.
I'll be
Shalom,
there
family.
10
Saturday.
o'clock Saturday. Absolute. Shalom, my brother.
Thank you, man. Y'all have a good one.
Shalom, family. D.O.C. out. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
In the winter season, around December 25th, the people celebrated the winter solstice. And so the winter solstice would come about somewhere from December 21st all the way to around January 6th or so. And so the people of the north would celebrate different holidays, have different occasions based upon the winter solstice. In the wintertime, there is a period where there is no light. You are literally in darkness 24 hours of the day. And this stretches for a period of time. Now, could you imagine if you're living in Alaska or living in Canada or living in Norway and you don't have central heating and the cold is outside, it's darkness around you. People are dying from disease. It's a terrible time, and every family would probably lose somebody, or they would know of somebody dying from the cold and disease during that season. This is the winter solstice. And so when the sun starts to come out, the people now are looking at the sun as a life-giving force. And so during that time, a number of ceremonies were held in northern countries. In the far north was the Feast of the 12 Nights, which stretched from December 25th to January 6th. Also in ancient Greece, there was the Bacchanalia, which was held for their god Bacchus, the god of wine and sport and play. the Romans had the Saturnalia for their god Saturn, their main sun god Saturn. And so you find during these times that the people held ceremonies in the north. They would burn bonfires. The light was important, the fire, because the fire represents the light, the life-giving force for those who worship nature. Also in the north, they recognized that there was one tree that despite the cold would still remain alive, the evergreen tree, the fir tree. And so in some cases they would take this fir tree, believing that there was powers of life within the tree, and they would put it in their homes, set it there and put a light on the top of it, or burn them in the front, or they would make mistletoes and put them over their doorways, a type of what we would call ta'weez or tamima. It is an amulet. And they would hang the amulet over their doors, hang the amulets in their home, hoping that this fir tree, that this so-called life-giving force would protect them from the danger of the winter. And so their ceremonies developed around this. And this went on for hundreds of years. We also find in the ancient northern countries, and the Druids of the north, they carried out special ceremonies surrounding the mistletoe and surrounding the fir tree and the beliefs, and they would meet within circular areas. And they had a secretive cult that spread throughout the far northern countries. One of the interesting individuals, and you can look this up if you can find it in the dictionaries or encyclopedias, is a man called Mithra or Mithras. This is a very mysterious character. And when you look at history, you find that this individual called Mithra was born on December 25th. His day of the week was the 7th day of the week, that we still call Sunday. He was supposed to be the son of the sun god himself, and they had a special sacrament made up of bread and wine, and they would make this drink during this time. And supposedly he died for the sins of the people. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? But when you try to find Mithra or Mithras in the encyclopedias, they, through state intervention, erased the name. Why is this? That is because after the time of Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, when the message began to spread and they went north, and you'll see within historical writings that Barnabas, one of his disciples, met a man named Saul or Paul, who later called himself Paul. Paul said he saw Jesus on the Damascus road. And he went to the disciples, but the disciples turned against Paul. Only Barnabas stayed with him. But when Paul and Barnabas went into Greece, Barnabas left him. Now, what is the reason why they all left him? What are the concepts coming through Paul? Many people say, well, they left him because he was Saul before, and he used to torture the early followers of Isa alayhi salam. But also you can see, and if you look at present-day Christianity, that most of the concepts of the Trinity, of the blood sacrifice, the original sin, and most of the concepts which relate to more than one God are coming through Paul. The preachers are quoting Paul sometime more than Jesus during their sermons. And so Barnabas left Paul. And somewhere in the early days, in Rome or Greece, somewhere in that area, those missionaries who were teaching the teachings of Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, met with this force coming from the north. And so you will see in ancient Roman history that in some cases the Roman emperor would go out to the Colosseum and the gladiators would be fighting each other, and everybody's cheering for the gladiators. Sounds like one of our football games. They would go to the Colosseum, right? And the gladiators would fight. And then if one of the gladiators was down, and they would look at the emperor, should I kill him or not? And if he wanted to kill him, he would go like that, right? You know, that sign down. If he said keep him alive, he goes like this. You know how we use it today? Yes. Okay? He gives that sign. Okay? One of the terrible things happening during these rituals at the Colosseum is that they would bring the Christians out, literally men, women, and children and feed them to hungry animals. They would take a hyena or a wolf or a lion and get it hungry and crazy and beat it and throw raw meat at it and then send it out on the people, and they would literally cheer and watch as the animal ripped the bodies apart. This is a terrible culture. Tear the bodies apart. And so somewhere along the line, somebody who couldn't take the torture, who felt that maybe we can win these people over, made a compromise. And you start to see changes going on from the early part of the Christian era in Southern Europe, where the major ceremonies held by the nature worshiping people are combined with Christian names and Christian ceremonies, and therefore what comes forth to us is a mixture with the two streams coming together, where you get a monotheistic name or a monotheistic character with a pagan ceremony. And so the mixture of this together is what is giving us the present day holidays that we see. Number one, we understand that Isa alayhi salam, according to the different reports of the different scholars in many religions, he was not born in the cold weather. History shows us that he was born during the warm weather. Even in the Christian traditions, they have the belief that the shepherds were tending their flocks outside. And in Palestine, you cannot keep your flocks outside. In the wintertime, in the evening, you bring them in because it's cool at night. And so it was the warm weather. It was also the time of the taxes in the north. In the story coming in the Quran, when we see the mention in chapter 19 in verses 24 to 25, and we see the mention of the story of Mary, because it is the belief of the Muslims that Maryam, may Allah be pleased with her, was a virgin, and she had dedicated her life to the worship of one God, prayer and fasting, and by the power of Allah, that the Creator breathed His Spirit into her, and she conceived Jesus. He said, be, and it is. She conceived Jesus, Isa alayhi salam, without a father, without a man. That is a belief of Islam. It is also a belief that when she felt the pain of the pregnancy, that the angel came to her and told her to go outside of the city. She went outside of the city to a remote area, and there she found a palm tree, and she found water. And it was speaking about rutub, janniya. It was speaking about a type of rutub, or a type of dates. And those who know, who have lived in the desert area, know that when the dates become ripe, when you start to see the color of the dates change, because dates are not brown, you know. Dates are originally red and they're yellow, they're other colors, but they turn the brown. It's at the height of the heat that the dates become ripe. And so it's at that time that she gave birth to Isa alayhi salam. So from different points of view, different historical points of view and different religions, we understand that Isa alayhi salam was not born during the winter season. He was born in the warm weather. So who was it that was born in the winter season? What is that? Who is that character now? Let us become detectives and try to find out the answer to this problem. Number one, you have to understand this concept of Saturn, the concept of Bacchus. When they are portrayed by the different artists who drew pictures of them, or the sculptures, they're usually portrayed as a heavy-set man with a white beard. And when in the Sistine Chapel, Michelangelo drew his picture, you could see the long flowing beard, and there are actually pictures of this man on a sled being drawn by snakes with wings. Snakes with wings. Snakes do not normally fly. But in this case, the snakes have wings, and the heavy-set man is on his sled being drawn by these flying animals. Sound familiar to you now, doesn't it? He's being drawn by the flying animals. He's performing miracles. He's coming out on December 25th, which is not the birthday of Isa alayhi salam, has nothing to do with Christianity. It is the time of the Bacchanalia and the Saturnalia, and he is representing riotous fun, drunken reverie. And so what happens on Christmas, the Christmas season, especially in America, people today are not even thinking about Isa alayhi salam. They're not even thinking about Jesus. They're looking how they can get drunk. On Christmas, what is going on? In the Caribbean and many parts, if they offer you a Christmas pudding or Christmas pie or Christmas drink, watch out. Because it's probably laced with rum or wine. That's the spirit of the season. Now, this riotous occasion that was going on went so far that the Christian church banned it. And the Church of England, according to historical sources, actually banned it all the way to 1647. It was prohibited in England to celebrate Christmas because they saw Christmas as being a pagan holiday. This is an official position taken by the Christian church, the Church of England, who were known at that time as Puritans. What happened was an individual was superimposed. A name was superimposed. We hear about the name of Saint Nicholas. Saint Nicholas. Now, Saint Nicholas himself is actually coming from the ancient writings of Beowulf. And in these writings, which are done in the Scandinavian region, we find the name Nick or Nickel or Nicker. He was known as a demon, the demon of the north. He was known as the evil spirit of the north, the name of Odin, the evil principle. And so in Germany and in many of the northern countries, the people actually looked upon this so-called Saint Nick as being an evil force, and they would tell their children in the wintertime, don't go outside, because if you do, Nicholas will come along, Nickel will come along, he'll capture you, put you in his bag, and take you away. And so they used it as a negative concept. In Isaiah, in what is left of the Bible, in chapter 4, in 14:13, the devil is known as the prince of darkness. And it is an understanding that his throne, the seat of his power, is in the north. Somewhere in the north is the seat of power of this evil. And so the Germans also, when they depicted this Nicholas, or this Pelsnickel, as they would say, Pelsnickel in German, it means a furry devil. When they depicted him, they depicted him as a man with red fur. He had red fur coat, and his base was in the north, and he was the essence of evil. And the Church of England till 1647 took the position that this celebration could not go on. So what we are actually seeing is that the Christmas occasion was actually the time of evil. It was the time of the belief in the Saturnalia and the Bacchanalia. And because of this, they shifted the occasion to New Year's Eve. They shifted all of their feelings and their merriment and their evil to New Year's Eve. Now, before we go to that, looking back at Christmas, what is happening now in Christmas season? I don't know what goes on in Miami, but in the northern cities, on Christmas occasion, they put lights around and Santa Claus parades. Do you have a Santa Claus parade here? They have Santa Claus parades, and St. Nicholas is outside, and he's in the streets, and everybody's talking about St. Nicholas, and the poor children are taught that St. Nicholas is gonna come down your chimney. Most people don't have chimneys in Miami anyway, but a 350-pound man is gonna come down your chimney and bring you presents and keep his clothes white and red, and go to all of the homes in the area and put presents in your stockings and put presents under your tree, and then fly back out into space. And the poor father who sweat and toiled all year to get you the presents gets no credit for the present given to the child. Saint Nicholas comes down the chimney, gives you this present, flies off into the night. And many of us were raised thinking, believing in this. Some of us would sneak into the night and look and see our father putting the present under the tree. We knew what he was doing anyway. But you went along with it, and the people say, well, you know, it's Christmas. Don't you like to have fun? You want to stop the children from having fun? What kind of people are you? But what are you teaching the children? You are using the name of Jesus, using the name of Isa alayhi salam, and you are using a figure who historically is the devil. The devil himself, wal-iyadhu billah. They are using his figure, and he has now taken over the Christmas season. Christmas now to most people means materialism. You have to buy presents for your cousins and your friends, and you got to buy about 34 presents. And you find that most American people are in debt for 6 months after Christmas. Now, where is Jesus? You get drunk, you fight, you lose all your money, the stores raise their prices. Isa alayhi salam is described as a very humble person. Most of the time he didn't wear shoes, only 1 or 2 changes of clothing. A very simple person eating very simple food, fasting most of the time. You see what is going on? There are 2 streams now, a stream of polytheism, a stream of monotheism, and now the polytheism, the materialism, is overtaking the monotheism and standing in the way and taking over our society. And some foolish Muslims coming along from outside of in their country say, well, I just want to be an American. I want a tree too. So I said, one of the brothers said he had a Christmas tree in his house. He came for. I said, brother, do you know what the tree stands for? He said, no. Okay, I'll get a palm tree with dates. I'll make it halal, a halal Christmas tree. But brother, you have to understand what it means. You have to understand what it means. Number one, the Prophet ﷺ, when he spoke about, he talked about ar-ruqya, wa tama'im, wa tiwala. He said all of these things are shirk. That if you hang amulets thinking that this ta'weez or this amulet is going to protect you from something, then you are actually giving power to the creation of Allah and taking it away from the Creator. If you think that by making some spells, going to a magician and asking them to put a spell on someone, you want to get married, so you go to the Sahir and say, put a spell on Ali, I want to marry him. Put a spell on Zainab. What kind of marriage are you going to have if you go to the magician? And so the Prophet, peace be upon him, named all of these things, the superstitions, the amulets, all of these type of things are the other stream which goes away from monotheism, from the belief in one God, and takes you into another religion.